Hi there everyone, hope I found you well. I'm Jennifer Kirk, welcoming you back up here to the loft on Weir Yard. Now today, as you can probably guess from the screens behind me, we've got something just a little bit different, and very kindly Chris Eden Green has sent over a copy of his newest DVD, Steam Locomotives in Profile, Manx and Miniatures, and we're going to be taking a look at this today. Now we do have a link in the description box, so if you really like what I've given you a little taster of today, then you can go and buy the full DVD from that link down below. And also don't forget that today's video comes in association with Trainomatic, makers of DCC decoders and accessories that are designed by enthusiasts for enthusiasts. So come with me and let's take a look at the Steam Locos in Profile. Steam Locos in Profile is a long-running DVD series produced by Chris Eden Green. Now I have seen some of these in the past and they are always really quite well researched. So I was really interested when Chris offered to send over a copy of the newest release, which you can see here, Manx and Miniatures, and this covers the railways of the Isle of Man, which of course everybody I think is probably quite familiar with the Isle of Man Steam Railway and to some extent the Snaefell Mountain Railway. But what really intrigued me about this DVD is that it does also cover a number of other lines that I actually wasn't aware of. And that's something that is the beauty of these DVDs, that not only do they bring you something slightly more well known, but also covering it in an amazing level of detail, but they also introduce you to other railways and prototypes that you might not have been aware of. And I think that that's something that really does stand out with these DVDs. And watching the episodes on this disc, I was very much struck that they are really in-depth researched. They've got all the information that you could want about the subject prototypes, and I particularly like the style that Chris has with presentation on camera. He is very much a natural in front of the camera. It's not stilted at all, and he has a very fun, conversational style that really does draw you in. It's also the case that the cupboard monkey sat with me when we watched through this DVD, and what struck her was the fact that even though she's not actually a railway person, she was really drawn to the production style and the editing too. I think so much so it's very difficult to really make a video stand out, and it's quite easy to make the editing kind of drown the subject. But on this, Chris uses some very subtle editing techniques that really do bring the picture and the presentation alive. And I particularly like the use of the cutaway shots, showing some of the scenery of the locations too. There's also a great smattering of historical images as well, and Chris does work incredibly well to bring together the full story on each of the subjects that he covers. The episode that particularly fascinated me was the one that covered the Laxey Mines locomotives Ant and Bee. Of course, Isle of Man was very much a centre for mining of lead and zinc, and these locomotives were introduced in order to improve the efficiency of that particular mine. And they are such an interesting prototype. I've never seen anything like them before. Chris manages to treat this subject with an amazing amount of enthusiasm and showed us everything that there was to know about this really quite unique and hidden gem on the Isle of Man. Throughout these episodes, actually, talking with the cupboard monkey, I felt that actually what he'd really done was not just highlighting this amazing railway heritage, but he'd sold the idea of a trip to the Isle of Man so thoroughly that we found ourselves wondering how we get over there to visit this fascinating place. So Chris, I think maybe you also need a job with the Isle of Man Tourist Authority, because you did a great job in showcasing this interesting island. When it came to the episodes covering the miniature railways, again, Chris tackled these with the same detailed level of research that we saw in the previous episodes. Again, really fascinating to see such interesting prototypes, and I learned so much from these episodes, and the fact that miniature railways were quite a big thing pre-Second World War. And it was great to see him searching out these unique survivors and even getting to drive them as well. And you could just tell that he was having a great time, his enthusiasm coming across in absolute bucketfuls. I also particularly like the esoteric touch of making food using a miniature railway locomotive. It's something that my father and I have done with 4-inch gauge Garretts before now. It's one of the old railwayman's things that if you want a decent lunch on the sly, then just wrap up a potato in tinfoil and chuck it in the smoke box. Chris takes this one stage further, but you'll have to watch this DVD to see the full details. But safe to say that next time my father and I go out on the rally scene, we might be looking to be just a little bit more adventurous in how we cook our lunch. When it came to the final episode, again, we were really looking forward to this, having seen the episodes that had gone before, and Chris did not disappoint. Again, the editing style is smooth and effortless, and really, I have to say, from the technical point of view, watching all of these episodes, I was really drawn to a fascination of just some of the really great tricks that Chris uses to make the transitions effortless and to keep drawing you into the prototype. And I have to say that from a purely technical point of view, there's some little tricks that he used, which I think I'm going to use that on some of my videos. All in all, this was a great presentation with 5 feature-length episodes really coming together to provide great value for money. These DVDs are on sale for £19.99, and I really do think that they offer a great present for somebody that you know who is into the world of railways, who might not be quite so familiar with some of the unusual prototypes that are covered in this volume. It's also a great present for yourself, and nobody would think any less of you to treat yourself to one of these DVDs. I'd like to extend a huge thanks to Chris for sending this over and opening my eyes to principally the Isle of Man as a tourist destination, and I really do feel that over the next year or so I'm going to have to try and make time to get over there. This DVD has whetted my appetite, and I think it truly is a great presentation and something a bit different for all of the steam enthusiasts out there. Well, I hope you really enjoyed today's video, and like I said at the beginning, we've got a link down below just to help you find where you can purchase this DVD from if you really like the sound of what we've talked about today. Don't forget as well that you can also head on over to Patreon and help support the channel to make the videos that you want to see. And do tickle that like button, and sharing is caring, of course. And if you haven't already done so, then do please consider subscribing to the channel to be the first to know about new videos as and when they go up. But until next time, this is me, Jenny Kirk, saying you take great care of yourself, and I look forward to catching you next time. Until then, happy modelling. Bye for now. Today's video is sponsored by Trainomatic, makers of DCC decoders designed to be fully compatible with every manufacturer's locomotive. Visit train-o-matic.com to browse the full range and see what they've got suitable for you. I'd like to send out a huge thanks to everybody who supports me on Patreon, and an extra special huge thanks goes out to Anthony Kidson, Offshore Allen, Michael Lockie, Helen Sink, Gary Lewis, David Quinn, Sparky 107107, George Botterini, Chris Moss, Robert Steers, MD of San Juan Model Company and Grantline Products, Sam Yates, Dale Williams, John N. from NC, NYMRish, Jonathan Foster, Peter, Clifford Ison, Larry W. Grant, NI Railways 4000 class, Ian Coulson, and Alan Dickerson. Thank you. Without you guys, I couldn't do this.